What up, Space Fam? Goes in here from AnimeUproar, and I'm back at it again with another Demon Slayer video in preparation for the second season, which should drop sooner or later this year. I'm down to drop a bunch of Demon Slayer videos as long as you guys continue to watch them and continue to show your love by smashing that like button until it's blue. That's the best way to ensure consistent Demon Slayer content for you, as well as commenting below to help the YouTube algorithm know to share this video with other Demon Slayer fans. If you haven't, make this the video you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications, or you will miss future Demon Slayer videos. And while you wait for your suggestion to be made, feel free to check out my growing Demon Slayer playlist, which includes videos on all the Hashira, all Demon Moons, and much more. Link to that is in the description. Now without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. So I've been meaning to make one of these videos for a while where I examine the relationship between two characters. It's been in the back of my mind for a while now, so I decided to finally give it a shot with one of my favorite couples in Demon Slayer. Another favorite couple is Zenitsu and Nezuko, so if you want to see that too, destroy that like button and let me know in the comments. Kanao debuts as early as chapter 6, believe it or not, during the final selection exam. We just see her gentle smile and don't spend much time with her, but like Zenitsu and Genya, she was singled out, foreshadowing her future importance in the story. She was one of the almost 20 participants and one of the 5 to actually survive. So it wasn't really love at first sight here, since Kanao was just in the background as Tanjiro was carrying out his goal and trying to help his sister. Let's fast forward now to the Natagumo mountain arc. At this point, she came with Giyu and Shinobu as her Tsuguko, aka as her apprentice and eventual successor. Again, this wasn't a very romantic meeting. Shinobu is trying to kill Nezuko because she's a demon, while Tanjiro and Giyu are trying to protect Nezuko from the insect pillar. As Giyu is keeping Shinobu busy, her assistant Kanao attacks Tanjiro as he's running away with Nezuko. She almost kills Nezuko, Tanjiro's precious sister, but Tanjiro manages to stop her. Kanao is a beast though, and then manages to knock Tanjiro out with a kick to the head. As she chases down Nezuko, a part of her thinks it's weird that Nezuko is just running and not attacking, but another part of her says, and I quote, "Just kill demons like I was taught," end quote. At this point, she is clearly not allowing herself to think for herself, rather just following orders. Luckily, the crows let Kanao know that Nezuko is to be captured rather than killed, and then she can proceed with those new instructions. So yeah, not a conventional start to a romance. Imagine a girl knocked you out with a kick and tried to kill your sister. Still, arguably Kanao was just doing what the majority of Demon Slayers would do, following orders and trying to eliminate demons. At the Butterfly Mansion, things really begin to change. While the Kakushi are carrying Tanjiro there, they see Kanao, and Tanjiro stares at her as if it's the first time he truly saw her, as she smiles surrounded by butterflies. It's explained to Tanjiro that she's a Tsuguko, a Demon Slayer who's being trained by a Hashira. Only the most talented and highly skilled fighters get selected, so she's very impressive. Tanjiro thinks that he saw her at final selection, but he didn't notice that she stepped on him last night, hilariously enough. While the Kakushi ask if they can enter, Kanao just smiles vacantly, not saying anything. Aoi then intercepts them and leads them away, but interestingly enough, Tanjiro stares back, looking at Kanao, clearly showing his interest in this weird, quiet girl who could kick his butt. The Butterfly Girls, including Kanao and Aoi, help with the training of our 3 amigos, namely Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu. Tanjiro, being more straight-laced, doesn't make a big deal of this fact, while Zenitsu freaks out when he finds out, saying the girls have nice chests, great butts, and strong thighs. Tanjiro does his best not to give in to such thoughts, since, as he says, he thinks it's bad to train with such impure motivations. Kanao was on another level and continually beat the 3 demon slaying amigos in the game of tag and in the cup throwing game. They marveled at her abilities and how even though she joined at the same time as them, she was so much ahead of them. Tanjiro was the opposite and actually lagged behind Zenitsu and Inosuke to the point where he felt embarrassed. Still, after losing to Kanao the unbeatable for 5 days straight, Zenitsu and Inosuke stopped showing up, but Tanjiro kept coming and working hard and lost for another 10 days straight. Tanjiro wondered why he couldn't beat her and pointed out that she smelled closer to a Hashira and that her eyes were different. Finally, Tanjiro realizes that the big difference is that he doesn't use total concentration breathing 24 hours a day, while the Hashira and Kanao do. We find out that Kanao can use breathing to burn first huge hard gourds, and Tanjiro's absolutely shocked that a skinny girl like her can do it. Through hard work and total concentration breathing, Tanjiro manages to eventually catch Kanao in tag and beat her in the cup game. Except he doesn't want to throw the smelly medical tea in her face, so he puts the cup on her head, which still counts as a win. You gotta love these moments they have, and even though Tanjiro did beat her here, Kanao actually had more up her sleeve, as we'll find out later. It has something to do with the fact that Tanjiro said her eyes are different than most people's, but the fact that these two are both such strong fighters also makes them a nice match in my books. Now let's fast forward to when Tanjiro thanks Kanao for everything and is heading out again. Again, Kanao smiles and remains quiet. There's an extended moment of silence before Kanao finally takes out a coin and flips it. After seeing the result, it's hilarious how unintentionally cold and formal Kanao's response is. She states, and I quote, "I merely followed my teacher's instructions, so you don't need to thank me, goodbye," end quote. No nice to spend time with you, no I like you, not even a you're welcome. Nevertheless, Tanjiro is just shocked she spoke. Clearly Tanjiro is drawn to Kanao even in these earlier parts in the story, since not a lot of people would stay so long considering Kanao's behavior. Kanao keeps repeating goodbye while Tanjiro keeps talking, asking her about what she threw and why she threw it. Then Kanao opens up and says, and I quote, "I tossed this to decide things for which I haven't been told what to do. Just now, I decided whether I would speak to you or not. Heads meant I wouldn't, and tails meant I would. It came up tails, so I spoke," end quote. Crazy to think if the end result would have changed if she got heads and didn't speak to Tanjiro. But with how persistent Tanjiro is, it may not have even mattered. As Kanao says goodbye again for the 1000th time, Tanjiro keeps the conversation going, asking Kanao why she can't decide for herself what to do. No response. He continues, and I quote, "What did you want to do for yourself?" End quote. Kanao, not saying goodbye this time, which is progress in and of itself, says, "It doesn't matter. Nothing matters at all, so I can't decide by myself." Tanjiro blows her mind and heart wide open when he says, "I think everything in this world matters." He goes on to tell her that he bets the voice in her heart is soft, but it's also important to follow instructions. He asks to borrow her coin, and surprise surprise, she says yes without flipping the coin, so Tanjiro has already started to get Kanao out of her robotic-like existence. He then throws the coin and says that this will decide if she listens closely to the voice in her heart from now on. If it's heads, she'll have to live by her heart. The usually calm and vacant Kanao is now wide awake and even sweating as she awaits the result. They both see it's heads, and Tanjiro is overjoyed and tells Kanao that she can do it. The heart is what drives us. Her heart can get infinitely strong. It's like Kanao had been frozen in time in a sense, and she just melted during this exchange and started to really live again. By the way, Tanjiro grabs the hands of the now nervous Kanao, another clue that they'd end up together. As Tanjiro rushes off saying goodbye, Kanao is now full of energy and screaming after him. How did he know it would come up heads? Was Tanjiro really leaving this all to fate or chance? Kanao wants to know if it was a valid throw. She thinks to herself that she was watching his hand and she doesn't think that he cheated. And this is one of my favorite parts in Demon Slayer right here. Tanjiro smiles and says, "It was just chance." But here's the kicker. He adds, "Besides, if it was tails, I was going to flip it over and over until I got heads." Tanjiro was not going to leave this to chance. He was going to keep going until he made sure that Kanao started listening to her heart. He tells her to take care as she remains there, holding the coin that Tanjiro had just held to her heart. When another girl catches her off guard, Kanao straight up falls over, clearly flustered about her reawakened feelings, and more specifically probably about her feelings for Tanjiro. And after this scene between Tanjiro and Kanao, no one should be surprised that they end up together. Tanjiro's consistent effort and interest in Kanao, and the fact that Kanao's heart was pretty much reawakened by him, is heavy foreshadowing for what's to come. So I don't want anyone saying that this matchup came from left field, since this significant and life-changing scene was in the very first season. By the way, because of the nature of this video, I won't be focusing too much on Kanao's backstory, although I do go into it more in my How Strong is Kanao video, link in the description. Long story short though, she had a very difficult upbringing. She grew up in poverty and in an abusive home. She witnessed siblings pass away, and if she cried, she would get punished. Not surprisingly, she eventually broke psychologically and was sold into slavery before Kanae and Shinobu saved her. Although they physically rescued her, she was like an empty shell, and Kanae had to give her a coin to flip before she could even make any decision. Thus, Tanjiro straight up mends her broken psyche here, and although she will still grow as a character from here, the wheels are clearly turning again, making Tanjiro already one of the most important figures in her life up to this point. Now we fast forward to Tanjiro waking up from his coma after the fight against Upper Moon's Gyutaro and Daki. Who's the first person he sees? None other than a concerned Kanao, who straight up drops and breaks a vase when she sees he's up. She's no longer the empty shell she once was. She reveals that he's been unconscious for 2 months. Clearly, she's been looking after him, and then she gives us one of the most heartwarming smiles with what appeared to be tears coming from her eyes. And she tells Tanjiro that she's glad he's awake. Full ship ahead. It's a moment that's easy to gloss over if you're waiting to get to the fights, but it shows just how much Kanao has come to care about Tanjiro. The fact that she's the first to see him suggests that she, in all likelihood, spent the most time by his bed. Now let's skip over to Kanao's fight against Upper Moon to Doma. The whole fight is amazing, but I'll try to focus on the details that stand out from a Tanjiro and Kanao perspective. The first thing I'll mention and go back to is how Kanao, like Tanjiro the Chosen One, is an amazing fighter in her own right, making them quite the power couple. Doma says that Kanao might just be a little more skillful than Shinobu, who he's just eaten, and that's before Kanao even shows him her full power. This is an important fight for Kanao because she is avenging both Kanae and Shinobu, both of who rescued her from slavery and died at the hands of Doma. By this point, Kanao is definitely not a vacant shell. She is burning with passion and specifically with hatred for Doma. Inosuke helps Kanao in this fight, as does Shinobu, who poisoned Doma when he ate her, but Kanao is still amazing in it. She uses one of my favorite breath style techniques ever called Flower Breathing Final Form Vermilion Eye, which is pretty much like a Sharingan with its own unique spin. It makes surrounding movements look dull and slow, and it causes pressure on the eyes, and that pressure stains them red. Kanao uses this ability, and with the help of Inosuke and Shinobu's poison, succeeds in defeating Doma, finally carrying out her revenge. As a result of using this OP technique though, she loses vision in her right eye. After the battle, we find out that Kanao couldn't cry for Kanae after she died, but everyone was kind and didn't think less of her because she couldn't show emotion. And finally, she cries harder than ever. The floodgates open, symbolizing that with her defeat of Doma, she's fully regained her ability to show her emotions. Similarly, Tanjiro completes his revenge arc by finally beating Muzan with the help of everyone else, and like Kanao, he loses vision in his right eye in the process. And although it's sad that they both lose vision in one eye, it's yet another thing that for us hardcore romantics makes them perfect for each other and makes it seem like they're fated to be together. But let's not gloss over this final battle because there are quite a few important moments concerning Kanao and Tanjiro. There is a point where Muzan has taken out almost everyone, including the strongest pillar, and Kanao looks like the only fighter left. He approaches her and is about to finish her off, and Tanjiro swoops in with the save using the legendary Dance of the Fire God style and takes Kanao away to safety. At this point, half of Tanjiro's face is mutated, but he doesn't seem to care. He just apologizes to Kanao for being late and tells the Kakushi to take care of her. It's a complete 180 from the time Kanao easily knocked him out with a kick, and you love to see it. However, it's not just Tanjiro doing the saving. Kanao's turn comes up when Tanjiro becomes an overpowered demon. Kanao still had some anti-demon medicine, and when she sees the state Tanjiro is in, she realizes that this is the reason she still has one eye left. Kanao, bless her heart, uses Vermilion Eye with her one remaining eye in order to save Tanjiro. She gets hurt in addition to hurting her last remaining eye with her special technique, but it doesn't bother her. As she says, all she wishes for is for Tanjiro to come back to them, and you can noticeably see that her words reach him. Just as Tanjiro saved Kanao, Kanao was willing to risk not just her vision but her entire life to save Tanjiro as well. And this effort of Kanao, along with the words she speaks as well as the medicine she gives Tanjiro, is the big push which helps him return to the world of humans. As Tanjiro recovers, Kanao is laying there in the distance as well, being treated for her injuries. They're both immobile, laying on the ground, and they make eye contact and both smile and cry, having just saved each other. It is such a beautiful moment. Then during chapter 204, the second last chapter, Tanjiro and Kanao share a great moment after they've recovered to an extent from their injuries. They talk about how the first user of flower breathing planted the sakura tree in front of them and named it Victory. Kanao wanted to tell the tree that they succeeded, and Tanjiro can't help but think how kind this was of her. They continue to talk about how they are doing, and both delight in Kaburamaru, the snake that Kanao inherited from Iguro the snake pillar. Although Kanao definitely lost some vision in her remaining eye by using Vermilion Eye to save Tanjiro, she does explain that she still has some vision left. Although they part ways and Tanjiro is having dinner with Zenitsu, Nezuko, and Inosuke at the end of this chapter, the next chapter pretty much reveals who got together with whom. Chapter 205 is a huge time skip where we first meet the descendants of Kanao and Tanjiro, namely Kanata Kamado, who looks very similar to Kanao, and Sumihiko Kamado, who looks very similar to Tanjiro. I have no doubt the name Kanata itself is a reference to Kanao's name, just as Aoba is a reference to Aoi, suggesting that Aoi got together with Inosuke. And at this point, some fans suggested that the ships still weren't official because descendants of these characters might have gotten together rather than the main characters themselves. Immediately, I was like, no way to this possibility, and the mangaka clearly had my back and was kind enough to create an extended ending where it was confirmed that Tanjiro and Kanao did get together and were Kanata and Sumihiko's great-great-grandparents. In this extended ending, we also saw flashbacks of Tanjiro and Kanao getting closer, being nice to some crows together, and being wrapped around together by their pet snake Kaburamaru, who was probably a good wingman for Tanjiro. And in the final panel, Tanjiro is holding Nezuko's hand with his left hand and Kanao's hand with his right, which is perfect. I love to see them together in the final panel of the series. By the way, if you are confused and haven't seen this extended new ending, I will leave a link to the video I made about it in the description of this video. So there we have it, the relationship between Tanjiro and Kanao fully explained, although it didn't seem super promising at the start when Kanao knocked him out and tried to kill his sister. They got over that hurdle with a little help from Tanjiro's amnesia, since he hilariously enough didn't even remember she did that. After Tanjiro flipped that coin at the Butterfly Estate, there was arguably no going back, and their ship kept getting more and more perfect from there. They were both willing to risk their lives for one another, and were both saved by one another on multiple occasions and in multiple ways. I truly love this couple, and after her terrible upbringing, I'm so glad Kanao got with someone she deserves, someone as kind as Tanjiro. It truly warms my heart every time I think of this perfect ship. But let me know your thoughts on this couple, and if it's your favorite in Demon Slayer or if you prefer another one in the series. If you did enjoy this video, show Demon Slayer some love by smashing that like button until it's blue, especially if you want to see similar videos for Zenitsu and Nezuko, Inosuke and Aoi, and so on. If you haven't, make this the video you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications, or you will miss future Demon Slayer videos. And while you wait for your suggestion to be made, feel free to check out my growing Demon Slayer playlist, which includes videos on all the Hashira, all Demon Moons, and much more. Link to that is in the description. And I especially want to thank the patron squad over on Patreon and here on YouTube who help make videos like this one possible. First and foremost, I want to thank the patron of legend, the one acknowledged by Lord Twigo himself, Alpha Sigma, and are the 1-tier patrons, the ones who stand atop all clans: Ingrata, Pate Hefa, Aljatal, Dr. Cortman, the Toasted Chi, Emperor Otaku, Spidey Life Tanel, Tungsten Tarkus, Baked Buddhist, Cody Hebert, and Monkey D. Quilly. And our Pro Hero tier patrons: the one and only Gilgamesh, the red-haired Raven, Angel Cruz, Anatoly Kazatsky, Very Gucci, Alicia Actor, Bonnie Parks, Hinokami and Water, Joanne Garcia, Ted No Ted, Fatboy Games, Corey McGowan, Metal Mama, Deadly Saint, and Soul Rise Slice and Dice. Thank you all so much. If you do enjoy our work, you can support more of it by going over to patreon.com/AnimeUproar and becoming a patron today for as little as $1. If you do so, you'll get your name featured in future videos alongside these amazing people right here, and you'll even get access to our private patron-only Discord where we talk about anime life and of course dank memes. So check out patreon.com/AnimeUproar, link in the description if you're interested. You can also join the YouTube channel by clicking that blue join button next to the subscribe button that you've hopefully already destroyed. So yeah, you can support more content that way if you prefer. Whichever way you choose to support us, you can get the same great benefits. Thanks again, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.